Good evening and welcome to Hot Topics from the Soul. I'm your host, Dr. Valerie Parker-Hagan. I have my co-host with me.
Good evening, Dr. J.R. Thicklin, and what a beautiful Tuesday that it is.
Yes, it is amazing. And we are going to continue our talk regarding relationships. And I have a power couple with me, they're dear friends of mine, Glen and Veronica Brooks. How are you?
Great. Hey, we're doing wonderful. Wonderful. How are you guys?
Awesome. It's so good to see you. I'm telling you, this is amazing. I'm always excited when you two are on my show, our show, Hot Topics from the Soul. And tonight we're going to talk about love and money. You know, relationships always crumble. They go on the wayside, always because of the majority of the time is because of finances. I don't know, Dr. J, what you think?
Well, I think finances had a whole lot to do with it because, Daddy used to say everything's funny when you got plenty of money. But when the money get funny, folks go to acting crazy.
That's a true statement.
Yeah, so when we're talking about relationships and love, how did you two meet?
Well, actually, I met her in church. Yeah, I mean, it was a Bible study night, and I walked in. I was kind of coming in there late, sitting in the back of the church, and I'm telling you, I heard God's voice. God had told me in the back of the church, he told me to look in the right-hand corner up front. And at the same time, I'm trying to fumble through my Bible, and I'm like, God, quit. I'm trying to get into Bible study. And he said, look. So I looked up there, and he immediately told me that night, and I think I was 15 years old then. He said,
15?
Yes.
Yes, I was 14.
He said, that's your wife. And I'm like blown away in the middle of service. So after service, I introduced myself to her, and then the journey began from there. Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't have no idea. I just, because I was new there, because I had just moved there to stay with one of my siblings because my dad was really sick. So I had to stay with one of my siblings. So when I met him, I thought nothing of it. He was just a really good person, nice. So each day, as we went along, we just started to hang out. Nothing to it, all fun, nothing. I thought nothing of it. I didn't like him the way he liked me, but
she's my wife.
But that's what he said. God told him that I was his wife. But it's been a blessing. It's been a journey ever since, all through the ups and downs, the hurt, the pain. But I tell you what, I'm glad that we met at a young age, because we don't have to keep wondering, where's our mate at or anything like that, which I hear so often from my friends. And, I just want them to be so happy, but, it's hard. It's like a needle in a haystack. So I'm grateful that I met him at a young age. And he was.
Glenn, I'm just kind of totally surprised that you come to church late, slap number one,
Right.
in the church, and then you get rewarded with the voice of God saying, hey, look up there in the right corner, and there's your wife. Listen here, you're going to have everybody come to church late after this.
I'm serious. Yeah, that day is still vivid in my mind. I would never forget that day. And she was so beautiful. Oh, gosh. I was just immediately attached to her. It was like, and that was the end of the story.
Yeah, you were always the biggest. He was the big encouragement because nobody didn't know I was going through the struggle of missing my dad because I wanted to be with my daddy, daddy's girl. But he always was sending, always saying encouraging words. Then he kept me busy on top of that, always going to dinner or to a movie. And you know what? He was the perfect gentleman and never tried to touch me or anything like that. So I think as we got older, you gain more respect like that, and you fall deeper in love when you don't cross those barriers.
Okay,
Wow.
so you were 14 and 15. And so how much longer after that did y'all get married?
We didn't do that until like in 1982. But what happened uh, prior to that, what I ended up doing, we had a lot of the places that we went to. We went to this place called the Chocolate Park, and the reason why we call it Chocolate Park, everything that was in the park was brown, painted brown. The merry-go-round, the swing set, the slides, everything was brown. So we call it Chocolate Park. So that's where we used to go just to hang out and talk and have a good time. So I remember all those days.
Yeah.
And then and like I said, we went on a little journey, but we finally came together and we did the right thing, and it was all timing. And been with us since then.
Okay, so when did you go into military, prior to getting married or after?
Yeah, I went. It was 1981, March of.
I don't know about the time zones. You got to paint a picture for
Oh,
me.
Yeah.
You got me calculating.
He was like
Okay.
17 when he went into the
no,
military.
it was actually
Six, what you said?
no. I just turned 19.
Oh, okay.
So what happened? I joined the military and ended up going to school in where did I go? Went to boot camp in Chicago during the winter, freezing, shoveling snow. Left there, went to school in California. No, Milton, Tennessee. They sent me to a school in Milton, Tennessee. Left Milton, Tennessee, went to California, then went California to Virginia, and a lot of time spanned by. And then I went home. Went home and got her.
You went and got her, huh?
Yeah.
When they got your girl, right?
Yes, because at that time I was living by myself and had my, own car, working my own job. And then he shows up after like a year later or so. And then he, you didn't even ask me to marry you. Sorry, you got to listen to this one out. He didn't even ask me to marry you.
Well, how did that go? Because obviously you got married.
He said that. Why should he have to ask for something what did you say that?
I said, why do I have to ask for something that God already said is mine? So
Wow.
yeah.
It's like he's just like, come on. Man, he's like really.
Hey, and believe it or not, when I was younger, I've always heard, even in messages, Bible study, and then even through God's voice, and I always thought about later on in life. He said, "He that findeth the wife findeth a good thing." I found her, and I wasn't gonna let her go. Period. I apprehended her.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I was nervous too because he said, "Come on, we're gonna go get married," and I was like, "Oh wow."
Okay, so y'all did a courthouse wedding?
Yeah,
Yes.
I pulled back from him because I didn't want to go in there and get married.
She was scared.
I was scared, but then, he's just a sweet talker. Men can do that. Yeah, he's just like, it's okay. Everything is okay. I got you. And that's good when you can feel actually safe with somebody that you really know that cares about you. So as he began to talk to me, I went on in there and then, I was comfortable. That's one thing about when you meet somebody, you have to feel safe. And to me, to be safe and know that he'll keep you safe and cover you. So we ended up getting married in there in that courthouse. Even the judge was laughing at us. We thought we were really cute.
He saw her nervousness. He said, "It's all right."
You're gonna make sure you didn't drag her up in there against her will.
Yeah, I apprehended her.
Yeah. But you're just such a sweet talker. Such a good man.
But Veronica, you talked about you feeling safe, and I think that's such a great point for many people out there because sometimes people can get caught up with the emotions and the feeling, but do you feel safe? How much would you say Glen's consistency and who he was have to do with you feeling safe? Because people blank out, they flake out, just flake all over the place. But how much did his consistency impact you feeling safe? Although you was nervous because it's like, stop playing, man. You tell me, let's go get married, or it's not even a formal, will you marry me? Let's go and get married. But you still safe because of what he had demonstrated all along that led to that. Would that be correct?
Yes, because even when we were young, he was always consistent. He never even really did anything different when he worked hard, even at a young age. Teenagers now don't work like we did back then. We actually worked hard when we were teenagers. And
Yes.
Glenn, he worked so hard. He had his own car, his own place, everything.
Show out.
And then, and then on top of that, every time we had a discussion, I would always get something encouraging from him. It's like he had a lot of strong wisdom, things that I struggle with, like, man, I just want to go back to my dad and all this stuff. It's like, why am I here? But he always would talk to me and said everything would be okay, because God had me there for a reason.
Wow.
So he was very consistent with everything. He was consistent how he portrayed himself, how he was, his personality, how he was kind, he was gentle. He was excellent at things that he does. He was a gentleman. You always opening the door for me, always, bringing like a gift or flowers or
even after all these years.
Even after all these years.
Yeah.
Yes.
I do that.
He's very consistent. Yeah. So, as we journey along, I don't even know where to begin to start at, because after his military career and going through that military, I wouldn't really want to go through that again because he had to stay away from me for so long, sometimes almost like a year. And, it's hard. You got the kids, it seemed like you're a single parent, but all in all, it was, the point was, when you love somebody, you're gonna make sure that everybody's happy, even though when sometimes you're not, you're always gonna make them happy, make sure everybody else is happy and the family is happy. And I think that's just in a woman, basically, just to make sure the family is okay.
Right.
And especially with the kids, we want to make sure the kids are okay. I had to borrow people's, other people's, how should I say that? Their parents. I had to borrow them to go to games because all three of them would have games at the same time. I said, go over here, film that one. I can't get to that one. It was just a lot of things going on, but you want to make sure that he is able to see something just with the video. So as the journey went on in our life, there's other ups and downs that came along with that. So everything is not perfect. Everybody thinks a marriage is so perfect, but it's not. When you go through the struggles, especially when it comes to money, oh my goodness, that is a real destroyer, because you're used to living a certain kind of way, and then you can't live that way anymore. It causes issues. You worry about, okay, how am I gonna pay this bill, or how am I gonna get the kids this, without trying to worry, about the husband as well. Well, worry about the husband, I should say. So
how did you get into the financial arena where you're able to educate individuals regarding financial independence?
Well, I got into that because we were going through the struggles, and then we actually were owned a company. We got to a place where we owned the company, and men, I guess, will be men. My husband, he didn't tell me everything that was going on. And then that's where the financial part hit, because there was a big crash. I don't know if you guys remember, but then my husband tried to keep things sturdy, but they weren't sturdy. I thought they were, but they weren't. So he was kind of hiding that from me because he wanted the things to be right. But I
Hey,
got upset.
that a lot of Jay, would you say men do that in general? You know, you being a man and the head of your household, would you say that that's how you guys, you and Glenn, kind of think? Just keep it
Oh
covered,
yeah, a-
hidden?
absolutely. Yeah, because when we had our computer store open, like I said, we were doing really well. I mean, the business was really thriving. So once that recession hit, we didn't feel we didn't feel the effects from it until I think it was the latter part of 2007. No, latter part of 2006, and then boom. I mean, people stopped buying. It got to the point to where we was trying to make a balance with the employees and stuff. Yeah, I mean, it got really tough. And yeah, men, we're that way. We want to make sure we holding it to the last, to that last wheel fall off. And that's what I did. I held on to it.
I didn't understand it
And
though.
and it hurts a man when he has to, turn the key over. And
Exactly.
then when that money stops, when the flow stops, it stops everything. So I'm on the backside trying to paddle to find ways to make that balance. But I didn't share that with her because I was like, I'm a hell of this. I'm gonna get this thing. I'm gonna make it work. But again, I should have been forefront with her.
Yeah. But it's part of the ownership thing that we as men have, especially men who feel like they're protecting. They don't want the woman to feel that weight,
Right.
So kind of like you said, we hold out, man. We hold out because, man, we're looking for a miracle, looking for Lucky Charms, rabbit foot, or whatever. Something has got to happen. And so
Right.
we don't want to get her all upset, when we're still believing inside of it. And so sometimes it comes across as if we're, I would say, just not being transparent, but in all actuality, we're doing it for the better good. And and there's something about, you described it perfectly. You got to turn over keys and stuff like that. You don't want to feel like a failure, especially in front of her.
Right.
And think about it. She said something earlier about him being consistent, always, him being the encourager. You always said it's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. And now you're facing for the first time where it may not be all right. Oh, no,
Right.
you're right now.
Yeah, that was the thing because he okay, what happened when I got a phone call and then the lady had said that we owed it was thousands of dollars and I thought it was already paid for, right? So immediately I got upset because he didn't tell me because I could have helped. And see, instead of hiding it from me, you should have just told me so I could have kind of catch the other side of it. But that wasn't the case. But I didn't understand that part on the man's side. I couldn't grasp it. So it took me years to grasp that. Okay, he could not tell me because he was a man that he's a real man. A real man, they actually stand up and want to really take care of the family, and they don't want the family to worry about anything.
Absolutely.
But I did not understand that. I couldn't grasp that until later. So I was so frustrated. I was so angry, wasn't I? I was like, why you didn't tell me? It was one thing coming after the other, getting the phone calls and things like that. And that's when I said I had to make a choice. I either build him up or either tear him down. I had to make the choice. And I chose to build him up. So I went out there and I found ways because I didn't know exactly ways to get money. I knew some ways, but I needed some training. I needed some help. So I went out there and found ways to get money, and I did that by going to free seminars like with Robert Kiyosaki, Kim Kiyosaki, and then later on they became my personal coaches. And then I ended up with Les Brown telling me, it was one thing after learning, how to build, the extra income and things like that. So when I learned how to do that, I started trying it on my own household. I said, okay, let me see if this will work. I was getting buckets, I got envelopes, I got all kind of things. And then I tried it on a group of women and women that didn't have money. So I asked them, like, they had to give me $1 every time they saw me. They didn't even know what I was going to do with it, but I had a bucket with their name on it. And then I end up, to make a long story short, these women started crying because they ended up having thousands of dollars when I gave them back the bucket. And this was for $1 that I was just collecting. They didn't know why I was collecting it. And this was for like about maybe 6 or 8 months. I was collecting, and they never even had that much money. So then I told them, well, get that money that you saved in those buckets that I gave to you, and then you take it and then you try to compound it to bring more money.
Wow.
So,
who would ever know
that?
Say that.
Veronica, did you teach people how to do it once you gave them the money that you had accumulated for them on their behalf? Did you show them how to multiply it themselves?
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what I did. I actually told them ways that they can invest, ways that they can look at. I talked a little bit about the stock, investing in stock. I talked about owning a business, building courses just to make money. I told them to use their own skills, their own abilities, and some of them thought they didn't have any skills. And boy, when we started talking, they had all kind of skills, just from doing nails to even dressing people. Some people just know how to dress people perfectly, but they were able to just make money just from that, teaching people how to dress.
Well, being a guinea pig had its privileges, didn't it? They're all guinea pigs, and they end up being a lot fatter because of you basically trying out a strategy that you had learned. And so kudos to you for even having the courage to do so. It's one thing to mess up my own stuff. It's another thing to possibly mess up someone else. And yet it's still, in doing so, you invested in them. And then not only did you invest in them, you did what we talked about. You taught them how to fish. And so that's amazing.
And I started with the household, like I said, first, because I was telling Glen and I was just talking to him, even though he was a sharp man, because I wanted to build him up, because it was a real struggle. Having marital issues, and especially you love somebody and then you feel disappointed because you felt like they lied to you. It becomes a very, very disappointment. And you have to really sit back and think before you react. I think that is important. Really sit back and think about what you do, what you say out of your mouth before you do anything. Because it's so important to build that man up. And it was so important that I build up a great man, because I was with him since I was 14. So I knew how he really was. It just that simple thing happened, and I could have took it way out of the wrong way. I could have went and just left, but I chose not to, because I knew there was greater things in him. And he is, he's one of the top web developers I ever seen. He's absolutely fabulous. He's great. I haven't seen anybody even
testify.
Because he's top notch, and he's humble, and he's just an excellent man all the way around. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful for that. even the struggles that we've been through. I'm grateful that we even went through that, because I wouldn't even know how to even be how I am now if I didn't even go through that struggle. And that's what actually Dr. Valerie taught me that. But anyway, yeah, so it's just one of those things that you have to really build strong. But the greatest, how can I say that? The greatest thing that you can build off is love. I believe love is something that you build a person so strong that it's actually it's greater than you. You actually pray for them more than you pray for yourself. You actually give them greater than you give for yourself. You do more than you do for yourself. But you do it in a positive way to build them to go up beyond that they could not even think or imagine. So that's how much you build them. That's what I think love is about, is building, and you do it positive. When they don't have money, you build even harder when they don't have money. You love even harder, you encourage even harder when they don't have money. That's how I feel about what love is to me. And that's what I did actually in my own household. So that's why I can talk about it.
Wow. If I may, listen here. I hope that everyone who's watching this currently and afterwards heard you, because you said something that really resonates. Because everyone can love on each other when everything is going great. They love each other. Oh, all the fuzzy feeling. But what you said just resonated, because you talked about the fact that you build them up, but you also talked about the fact that you had to think. You did not let your emotions rule you and everything because of what had happened. And you felt, wow, you didn't tell me, but you understood that in building him up was not a sign that he was weak. Building him up was actually part of your assignment of being that helpmate to help build him. Because I do think it comes a time where it's no longer about the butterflies and the feeling. It's about being that team of one, being that individual that if he hurts, I hurt. And so I got to build him up. And I think that's so important, because we don't necessarily see that a lot of time in our society. We have very convenient oriented relationship when things are comfortable and convenient. Oh, we're the love couple, we're the power couple. But when adversity comes, and it's been said that adversity introduces a man or a woman to themselves. What we do with that afterward determines our outcome. And the fact that you begin to build, not only did you build him up, inside of building up, you help build up the whole foundation. And that's what's so powerful about where you guys are. You've gone through some storms. You're not painting this picture of everything was great. We're looking through, rose-colored glasses. You actually encountered one of the number one things that oftentimes breaks down marriages and relationship, and that is finances. And yet it's still inside of it, through that hardest test, you found a way, and you guys both found a way. And I have to ask Glen, how did that feel to you in real time? Because I know us as men, sometimes we don't want to feel weak, and sometimes we want to feel like, oh man, we kind of want to do it ourselves, because we always want to be that knight in shining armor. We always want to be that guy that provides. We always want to be that. And sometimes it's hard for us to receive help and assistance. That's my personality. I know it is. Sometimes it's hard for us to receive help and assistance. But man, it sounds like Veronica had just made up her mind. Not on my watch. We're gonna get this. We're gonna make it. Hey, we're gonna succeed, and we're gonna be able to talk about it. So, how did it feel to you in real time when that was happening?
I think the first thing I had to get over was that sense of pride a little bit, because after I went through that process of losing it, and then finally she discovered that I was having a problem and our finances are messed up. I had to listen to her. Right. I mean, it was like I couldn't argue with it. I was like, really, I felt like a little puppy going in a little corner somewhere. But I realized I had to process through this, because that was the only way we were going to survive. So just going through the process, I accepted her, what she wanted to do. And from that point, to be honest, we started going on those different journeys. I started traveling with her to the different places, to the conferences and stuff. We started learning things. We got involved with different business people. So we were adamant about surviving, and we both was committed. So the pride part was the hardest part, but once I got over that part, it was understood that she was there to help me, not to damage me in any way.
Wow. And I'll be honest with you, I don't get goosebumps very often, but I feel goosebumps because I know what it is to be on the end when you didn't feel supported. I also know what it is to feel that pride that you were talking about. But there is something about when that mate presents themselves in a way that you know that it's not about belittling you. It's not about minimizing you. It's not about, if you would, showboating when you're down, but it's about the fact I got you and we've got each other. Man, that's got to be powerful. And I wanted the men to hear you to say that. That's why I asked that, because sometimes we do have a problem. We have a problem with the fact, because if she started exerting any type of leadership, oh, you try to take over, now you try to rule me. Right. So that was powerful. And I need to get that out to brothers, because the fact, if you are blessed to have that type of mate that sees this opportunity to build you up like that, we have to do so. And it is reminiscent of Sarita Jakes and T.D. Jakes' story. He always talked about the fact how she always built him. She never criticized. She never told him, you no good, you ditch digger. She pulled him up. And that's very important. And I just love, because I can hear the conviction in Veronica's voice. Like, I'm build. I'm like, well, go ahead and build then, because that's sounded that she was determined to do that. And I think that's powerful. Absolutely.
Yes.
Well, I like your message, and what I want you both to do is speak to the listening audience, because we're in a pandemic, is no secret, and relationships some of them have been destroyed because they're in close quarters, their finances have gone awry, one person has lost a job, and then in some cases both adults have lost a job. They have the children. What would you say and to encourage them?
First of all, I would tell them, I'm sorry that they're going through this, to be honest. But what we've done through this pandemic time, I kind of lost income myself on the other side. But what I did, I proactively got involved with really pushing my web development more so than I was before, which that made a big change in some of the income that that's been channeling through our house now. And then me and Veronica been working together, because she's got projects on the table too. So we kind of took the downtime, instead of us concentrating on the environment that was around us that was caving in. We kind of compartmentalized our resources together and said, okay, let's do something that's going to be more contagious to help our family through this time. So we start building business. That's what we took this downtime. Okay, so and then I believe that's the most important thing, is to find, instead of just concentrating on the problem, find a way that you can connect yourself with someone that can help you to start a business or do something that's going to cause you to, cause cash flow to come in, not drugs or anything. I want to make sure that's correct, but go find something that's productive, some type of platform, because a lot of people making money now because they've been forced into a place where they have to think outside of a job. And that's just making those changes to now. And that's what I encourage people to do. So,
and they also should. One thing about we're in the pandemic, we know that lives are being lost. And insurance is one thing that you must have. They have it where you can get insurance as little as like $25 or, just to start it. But you need that. you need to really talk about that. I know when me and Glenn were going through when he got really, sick and stuff like that, I was like, oh my God. He was trying to prepare me. And he does that. I really don't like to talk about the subject because I had just lost my brother in on October 1st. But you have to be prepared and you have to talk about it. You have to make sure those things are in order. Even though we've been prepared for many, many years, you still always want to check and make sure your ducks are in a row. And insurance is one of the top things that you need to get. Get the life insurance. Don't leave your family hanging trying to pay for everything at a funeral at the last minute, which I hear a lot of people are doing. All you have to do is pick up the phone. They have insurance that you can pay for and it's reasonable. And you can actually get that. And if you don't have a job, I mean, there's other avenues that you can take. In some states. So whatever your state policy is with those companies, are how should I say that? The federal, with your federal government agencies and things like that, try to get involved there so you could get some insurance. Ask around, but don't be silent. Don't just think about it. Get up and do it. And I suggest do it now. Even if you're hearing my voice right now, I suggest you go out there and get some life insurance to help with your family because we don't know the last minute we're going to be here. We don't know. So that's one of my things that is a surety to have that you need to have is life insurance.
I've often told people on the show that there is a lot of things that you can do to generate money during this dispensation we're living in. Just look around and supply to the demand. There's skills that you can do with your hands. There's, some people have wound up being professional cooks, staying home because they've had to, especially the men. My father taught me how to cook. So there's times that you can start cooking and sell plated food, or those rib stands used to be all over the place. But there's a lot that you can do with your own hands doing this season that we're living in. And I'm glad you brought up finances regarding insurance. You can't afford not to have insurance, and I'm not pushing anybody's insurance company on this, but it's something that you need to have. You need to prepare for when you're not here, not just when you're here. And you're like saying, "Well, Dr. Val, it's hard enough while I'm alive trying to provide for my family." Well, you don't want the burden of you to be gone. And then if you're struggling with you here, imagine the struggle with you gone.
Right.
And it could be the male or the female. And then, we're losing our children at young ages. We're losing our children. So everybody needs to be protected. And love does conquer all. When you're going through a situation and when you're in the thick of it, don't look at what's before you and the calamity that's before you, but revert back to that love that started, that kindled in the first place when you were 14 and he was 15. Revert back to that. And remember how it started. Remember the freshness of it all. What do you think about dating, Jay, Veronica, Glenn? What about date nights?
Well, I think date nights.
Those are the fun nights. I mean, for us, those are really fun.
Because believe it or not, when the pandemic first came down, just the creativity just was flowing. I mean, we was doing everything. You name it, we was doing it.
Right.
And even our grandson.
Veronica's giggling a little bit too much, Glenn.
And let me tell you what I did. I became Chef Brooks.
Yep.
What?
Going down.
Yeah, you have. Really.
And it's just amazing how these different recipes. I've been creating recipes out of my head and putting it together, throwing meals together. and presenting it to my wife.
Yes.
And she said, "Oh my God, what you put in this?" And I said, "I can't tell you."
Yeah, because I'm on the vegetarian side. I eat fish, but that's about it. But he comes with this fancy plate, setting up all this like you just at a really fancy, nice restaurant. And the plate is so pretty. I didn't took pictures of it. I should have sent you some pictures.
Oh, they on Facebook. Trust me. She's already put it.
I love it.
And it's just so nice because you have more. It's like more date nights. It's so much fun when you can enjoy each other, laugh and talk, and then he bought a popcorn machine for the movie theater.
Oh, yeah.
So he in there, he like popping the popcorn because we can't watch the movie, without the popcorn. It's like everything is really creative. But he's been doing those little nights. Well, not little, they're big dinners, and it's so good. You wouldn't even know they're vegetarian dishes.
Come on, Jay, because I knew you were romantic.
Well, I tell you, Glen has me just looking and say, "Hey, bro, we are a kindred spirit," inside of that. And I think we have to find things to do. We have to be creative. We have to step out of the box.
Right.
They said necessity is the mother of all inventions, and adversity once again introduces us to ourselves. Sometimes we don't know what's in us until we're challenged inside of that. So we either make up in our mind that I'm going to do something. I'm not going to sit here and die. I'm not going to sit here and kill you either. So we discover things to do. I mean, just little things like getting together and playing games and stuff that you did. Make it competitive. I grab the next 4 and dare you to beat me. Okay, if you beat me the first 2, I'm gonna make it the best 4 out of 7. Okay, whatever it is. Because we find things to do, spend time together, being able to, and don't allow that energy, because negative energy can definitely seep inside of adverse situations. But we can choose to convert that and translate that, if you would, to positive energy. And so I like that what you're doing, and I'm looking to see the Chef Brooks cookbook online any day now.
Man, I'm telling you, man, it'd be so good. It just slides down your throat.
And I make a mean vegan, actually a vegan meatloaf.
Oh, don't do that.
Man,
I'm ready to
Now, both of you vegan now?
No,
he just been for like about 6 months. I mean, he wasn't going vegan. I
stopped eating. I stopped eating meat, not because of her.
No.
I just decided one day, because meat was pulling me down, and some of the meat was causing some of my joint pains.
Okay.
Yeah, so I figured that out, and I said, okay, let me cut that out, and then I never had that problem anymore.
Wow.
So, yeah, it was pulling my body down. So that's the reason why I chose the choice of using, raw vegetables. Because what I do, I go to the market, I buy all different veggies. I'm talking about from your asparagus to your Brussels sprouts to zucchini, squash, you name it. I get all that. Carrots,
yummy.
And I do all of that, and I grill it. I put a nice seasoning on it. I throw, and like I said, I make my greens without meat, but you would think it tastes like meat in there. I make some hot greens.
Oh yeah.
And I throw that vegan,
like cooking healthy
meatloaf. That vegan meatloaf will make you cry.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about tears come from the eye.
Now you gotta make that trip.
Candy yams.
What's it made with? Chickpeas?
It's made with, it's made out of vegan. It's like a vegan meat, a veggie meat, plant-based meat.
Out of plant.
But when I get done with it, you think it's beef.
Okay.
Our next show is a cooking show. Cooking with Glen. Meatloaf happened to be my favorite dish. And so when you're sitting there talking about a vegan meatloaf, okay, let's put them on next week. It'll be a cooking show, virtual, because I'm telling you, I can only imagine what that's like. And you sound excited about it too. You guys are very convincing.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
and you know, it's so contagious. My grandson's cooking now. When he first got here, I was cooking for him. Now he goes down, cook his own meals. Yeah,
Wow.
he does it all. So we call him Chef June.
You know, we time is going by so fast, and you know, Glenn, you spoke several times about the fact that you do web design and you're phenomenal at it. So those individuals that go to my website from the soulofawoman.com and Arise by VNP, you will see Glenn's work. So if you go to my website right there from the soulofawoman.com, you'll be able to see his work. And Veronica, as she deals with finances, and she's an author, speaker, coach. So talk a little bit about that, Veronica. What you do is it relates to that. Because you know, you talk about love and money and uh, how the marriage was almost broken because of financial secrecies. And you know, we always go through that. And I want to ask you, okay, we almost run out of time, so I got a lot of stuff I want to ask. What about secret bank accounts? Not in the stash, so you won't fall in that situation.
But you know what? I have people. For example, I have some people now that I coach, and what I had them do is get an envelope. Just get a regular envelope, and then you just go number it 1 through 100. But every week or every 2 weeks, pull an envelope, put the money in there, and then you put that one envelope to the side. For example, if I pull number 35, that means I have to put $35 in that envelope. So I put $35 in that envelope. I put that envelope to the side. You keep that envelope for 1 year, until you run out of the 100 envelopes. If you run out of the 100 envelopes, then you just start all over again until a year is up. And then you should come out with a little bit over 5,000 and something dollars. And then from there, one of my actual tips is always take your time to, save the extra money, your pennies, your nickels, your dimes. Always have a bucket there to put that money in there. Always have a mindset that you want to be something and do something better to even create the wealth. And don't be afraid of money. Never be afraid of money. Always go. It's okay. It's okay to like money. It's okay. The thing is, don't get too greedy and selfish with money. That's the main thing. But it's okay to have money, and it's okay to have plenty of it. Before you even hit millions, it takes steps to get there. So don't be afraid of it. And then when you hit the millions, don't be afraid of the millions. Make sure you double it more to even have more money to spend. So my thing is always speak positive about money and say, money is coming to me and I am going to be wealthy and I am going to have this money and I'm going to be successful with it and I'm going to spend it correctly how, I should spend with not being greedy in that aspect. So, I always say this one thing. I always talk about the GPS, the goal, the plan, and then the strategy. That is key. So remember your GPS. Always have a goal to achieve what you want to achieve within that year or even within 6 months. Have a goal, a realistic goal that you want to achieve. And then plan it out accordingly. And you could plan it out accordingly. Like I just told you, could get the envelopes and number them. You could number them to 50 if you want, but I just suggest 100. So,
okay, so tell me about the envelopes again. How can you obtain five? You said you could get $5,000 in 1 year. Save $5,000 in 1 year. So how do you do that?
Yeah, because you're putting, like, for example, if I pull number 34, I'm putting $34 in that envelope. So I put that envelope to the side, and then the next week I pull another one, or you may do it in 2 weeks or whatever. I pull another envelope, and that envelope may say 96. I have to put $96 in that envelope. Okay, so you're gonna put that to the side. That's gonna stay.
Okay. So
So
wait
you're
a
gonna
minute.
hold on to that.
So you number your envelopes from 1 to 100,
Mhm.
and whatever envelope you pull out, that's what you have to put inside that envelope. And is this done every week?
Correct. Well, I left that choice up to you. You could do it every week, every 2 weeks. But a week is better but some people can't get that. Some people get paid every 2 weeks. Some people, they might want to pull two envelopes or something like that. But I suggest when you pull one, you put that money in there, and then you pull the next one, put that money in there, and you put it to the side, and you hold it for a whole year. Hold that money for a whole year. So if, say for instance, if I'm pulling money out, if I'm pulling an envelope, say every week, it's a different amount that I'm going to pull every week. So when you have to go to that year, you're going to hold it for a year. You might run out of envelope. You might run out of the 100 envelopes. You start all over again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, until your year is up. And you should have about that much money. At least 5,000.
Wow, that's awesome.
Simple creative strategy and being able to invest. That's amazing. And I just think that is absolutely it's practical. It's something that can happen, and I can't wait to try it.
Yes, you should try it. It's fun too, but some people have to really seal it up and kind of
Seal it up, staple it, seal it there. Use the welding iron.
Yes. So yeah, just have that goal there, and then you plan it out, and then that's the strategy. That's why I said the GPS, and that's one of the strategies that you can use is with the envelopes.
So tell us about your book.
Okay, Wealthy Life Skills. I have 90 days to start gaining wealth, and 90 and Wealthy Life Skills. So Wealthy Life Skills, we're going to talk about that one since this is the later one. And Wealthy Life Skills, this is actually a motivational book. Yes, it's so good. And what I talk about in there is different things that we do, life skills that we use, everyday life skills, and things that you can actually use with your own talent for you to help you to gain wealth. So all it is just gaining wealth using your own skills and your own abilities. And everybody has some type of skill, and everybody has some type of ability. Because if you can communicate with another person and talk to another person, you have something great there, a life skill in there that you can use, and you can use that life skill to even gain extra money, to build a business, and become successful. It's easy as 1, 2, and 3. It's really that easy because it's you that has the skill, and it's you that has been gifted with that skill. So you don't have to back up from the skill. You just enjoy it and make the wealth that you need with it. You be creative with what you got. I remember I met a billionaire, and he told me, Veronica, I'm just like you. And I said, wait a minute, I didn't have no money like that, like he had. He said, I'm just like you. I said, what do you mean? I said, you got billions. And he said, when I'm laying there and God tells me something, I don't just lay there. I actually get up and do it. And the squeeze balls, the what you call with the before you the stress ball. Yeah. He had this picture to get all these little funny things of these stress balls, and he went and did it. And that made him millions and millions of dollars just with the stress ball. So my thing is, the reason why I say that, he's right. We were just alike, you know, just because he had the billions, that means I could get billions too. Just by doing the simple things that come into my mind, the thoughts of creating something, because it's naturally built in us. It's naturally built in us to create and to succeed throughout that creation, because it's the natural thing. That's all it is. One, two, three.
Well, we're almost out of time, but I need you to give one final remark to the listening audience. And, you talked about it not being an easy journey, but talk about the support you have for one another, which you got the support because of love, but talk about what that looks like, because sometimes people don't know what supporting looks like.
Okay. You know, because support as a woman, um, sometimes we could get authoritative and then we act like we're like just the head. We just completely forget about the man. But I have learned that if you really think just about how you really want it to be treated as your own self, and always build with the most positive words that you can say to encourage that man without like trying to be over to belittle him. Always build him up, not belittle. And we know that when we how we speak. So my thing is how could I say that? How we speak is very important. And we
Your
know when
tone,
we are
you gotta work
encouraged.
your tone.
Yes, we know how to encourage and we know how to build. We know how when to be nice, we know how to be nice, and we know how to be mean, we know how to be rough, we know how to be straight and to the point. But my thing is be the great encourager. Be so encouraging that it makes you feel encouraged too. So that's my thing I want to leave with you.
Glenn,
Oh, okay.
I'm doing all the
it's,
talking.
it's okay for you to speak now.
Okay.
Glenn has enjoyed hearing all this stuff. It sounds good.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, like I just piggyback off what she said. We definitely, as a couple, we have to be there for one another, and not saying that every morning is the sun shining and the birds are tweaking and all of these things, but it's knowing that you're there for one another regardless of what's around us. And one of the things that we do a lot, we collaborate a lot. And I know she talked about her wealthy life skills, but one of the things that we found that we was able to work together, she was coaching, bringing, like if a person talked to her, she'll help them to find that special passion they have. And then after she finds that passion in them, she helps them to bring that to the forefront. And then what I did, I come behind them and build them a website for what their skill is,
To bring them to life.
to bring it to life. Instead of them trying to go out and try to figure out how to walk around and sell something, we do the e-commerce and we collaborate together to make sure that happens. So when she finished with them, they are so encouraged. They said, okay, I can do this. And then I'll build a website for their products or for their ideals or whatever it might be. We make it come to life.
What a phenomenal power team.
Absolutely. I'm telling you. Well, you guys have navigated through the pandemic. You've navigated through so much, and we want to thank you tonight for being with us. I know the audience is blessed by this, and hopefully they're going to share it with other people because this is very, very crucial and vital information.
Thank you for the invite. I really enjoyed it. I was excited.
Thank you.
So how many years have we put together total?
If we count all the years, if we put it all together, it's over 42, but 38 is with the,
Yeah, I've been married 38 years, but together for 40. Oh no, 43 years. Yeah,
no, 42.
Is it 42, 43? Yeah.
Y'all so happy you don't know how long it's been.
I know it. It's like I don't know. That's a long time.
I know. I tell my husband every day, I said, boy, it just seems like I just married you yesterday. I said, I
Yeah.
love you more today than I did yesterday. And he says, you too. I said, I'm going to love you even more tomorrow.
I love it. I love it.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
But God is good. Those of you that are tuning in, you see the website, veronicamotivational.com and ministrywebdesigning.com. Pick up her book, Healthy Life Skills. This is it, what it looks like. So, and you can always email or follow her on Facebook. Her and Glen is Veronica and Glen on Facebook. So you will be able to follow them and get some healthy services that you need. She does finances, he does web designs. And I'm so happy for y'all to be here. Valentine's Day is Sunday. What are your plans?
Sunday?
I can't tell you.
Sunday.
Oh, Mr.
I have a
Brooks.
surprise. I have a
I know.
surprise.
Okay, I'm not going to put you on the spot because I know it's going to be something spectacular. So, Glenn and Veronica Brooks, thank you so much for tuning in to Topics from the Soul. And I appreciate you all for sharing and being so candid. And hopefully, we'll have you back to talk more extensively about finances. Dr. J, you have any closing remarks or quotes? Anything to close us out tonight?
Well, my closing remark is this, that you guys was fabulous. I thank you for your story, because what you showed us tonight is that love is work. Working it out is worth working it out, because the results are immeasurable. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And good night.
Thank you all.
All right, God
I
bless you too.
appreciate you.
Yes, we're going to continue reaching hearts and empowering lives. And thank you so much, the Brooks, for joining in with us tonight. And y'all have a good evening. Stay safe. Wear your mask. Happy Valentine's Day. Good night and God bless.
Good night.